death is over. Miss Kitty Pants passed away this morning about between 5:30 and 5:45. Past 2 nights, she spent her time on the bed with us, and on my side of the bed. She's my kitty, my baby. And I knew it was gonna. I mean, I woke up about 5 o'clock and she was crying. And I said to her, Kitty Pants, do we need to go to the vet today? And she just cried. And then her breathing became erratic, and then she stopped breathing for a little while. And then she went, and then she had some gurgling, and I knew that, Omar and I were there around her. And I was gently touching her neck, like the back of her neck, and Omar was touching her paws, and we're going to take her vessel into the vet today and get her ashes back. And I am so happy she is not suffering anymore, because it was so hard. She's such a good friend. And I'm glad that she was home and with us the way she wanted to be. And that it was natural. It wasn't. She's a good kitty. And her eyes still look pretty. Her eyes are still pretty. Miss Kitty Pants for being a part of our lives. My birthday is 2 days after Inauguration Day. Inauguration Day is 21st, or no, Inauguration Day is 20th. My day is 3 days later, the 23rd. And, from the beginning of the primary race, when he announced that he was running, I said that Donald Trump was the Republican Party's best chance at winning. I mean, that was, if you know anything about politics or anything about current events or world history or media manipulation or what's called journalism, you're so hard pressed to find anything that's actual journalism out there anymore. I'll tell you what I mean about that in a minute. But, I said from the beginning that he had a very good shot at winning. I've done a lot of volunteer work, and I have worked a lot with people from many different communities and volunteered in many different settings and socioeconomic backgrounds, and, however you want to label everybody. And really, 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 truly, it has nothing to do with race. This has to do with something that's far more insidious. And he's going to be inaugurated. listening to everybody get all up in arms, well, we need to go out and protest. What the hell are you protesting? Everybody knows that the majority of people in the United States do not support him. And it's Americans' own goddamn fault that he was elected, because how many people still don't go out and vote? How many people don't vote? Then we had this clown show in the Democratic primary. You know, we had so much division within the Democratic Party. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Republican Party is super split too, but there's a huge division within the Democratic Party as well. And the whole world is sexist. Rather than elect a woman, they elected Donald Trump. Because that's better than anybody with a vagina in an office, right? I mean, I'm being sarcastic here. And, I don't know. Past 10 years, I've done all kinds of stuff, you know? I mean, activism work. And when I say activism, I mean actually doing stuff. I mean, actually doing stuff. Because I'm sorry, going out with your bullhorn and marching down a road isn't doing anything. That is... It's why I quit doing stand-ins. It's why I quit going and doing these things. Because all that is, truly, 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 all that is public masturbation. Makes you feel better because I'm doing something. I'm marching, march. But what are you actually doing? What action are you taking to make things better? Are you learning something? Or, I mean, the only good thing that can come out of demonstrations like that are feeling like you are connected to other people. We're all, and if you don't know by now that we're all in the same boat, up shit creek without any paddle, if you don't know that by now, then there's no hope for you. There's no hope for you. But you know, I've been telling people, I guess it was like 12 years ago now, I went to, Omar and I went and heard this gentleman, Ward Churchill, speak. And he was at the time a college professor, and his specialty is Native American history and politics, right? He's a member of a Native American community. I don't like the term Native American either. You know, there's a pretty good chance that a portion of my mother's family were Shawnee, because of just the history of how the family migrated and things. I mean, it's never explicit, you know, but, and, you know, if that's the case, then I have a fair amount of Native American heritage myself. Native American, what the hell does that mean? Anybody who's born in America is native to this country at this point. I mean, and you're hard-pressed to even call Native American people indigenous people, because you don't know that for sure, and there is anthropological and historical and prehistorical record, you know, of migration of peoples, of the Denisovian peoples from Siberia across the land bridge through Alaska to the North American continent. So a good portion of Native Americans were immigrants anyway. So it's all just ridiculousness. But anyway, he was a very well-spoken man, and had a lot of very interesting and concrete ideas and philosophies. I remember just being very moved by how heartfelt he was, and how sincere and how honest. I mean, and what things that he was talking about made sense. And what he was talking about was community, what it means to be an activist in a community and in your own life. You know, what things constitute action in a political way, and really it's a frame of mind. So anyway, he was very controversial at the time, because this was, you know, during the Bush era, and he was very vocally anti-Bush, and university that he taught at received a lot of government funding for research, and so eventually it was very public. He was totally dragged through the mud publicly in publications, you know, in journalism. And he was let go. He had tenure at a college, and he was let go. And you don't know how hard it is to get rid of somebody who has tenure. There has to be a trial that happens, right? Anyway, when I saw what was done and how it was done after having listened to him speak, as well as some of the other people who were there speaking that night, and I'm not saying that I agreed with everything that everybody said, because I didn't. What I came away with was a feeling of urgency, of need, of action, of real action. And there's things that I do in my life that I do those things because of this. And, you know, not just because they're fun, not just because I like them, but because it's a political action. It's an engagement of right? So I do them. I make art. I plant gardens. I share food. I speak my mind. I don't namby-pamby, pussyfoot around things, you know, because I just don't have... It's inauthentic for me to be otherwise, right? It's inauthentic, and if they force you to be inauthentic, then you're a slave, and I refuse to be a slave. I refuse to be a slave. So, anyway, I was trying to spread these ideas, and I'd go to these actions, and I'd go to these public meetings and things, and would talk to my neighbors and people I knew about what I was learning at these meetings, as far as like what was going on and stuff. And everybody would always tell me, "Oh, Larissa, oh, it's always like this, Larissa. You know, you're just overly sensitive, and when you grow up, you'll see." Blah blah blah. I was telling me this as an adult. It's like, you know, and I'm talking about stuff like when the Patriot Act passed. Yeah, there were a lot of people who were upset, but there weren't nearly enough people upset. Most middle-of-the-road Americans were just like, "Oh, they're protecting us from the bad guys, blah, blah, blah." Do you know who the bad guys are? Do you ever really, truly know?
Give me a quarter, I'll tell you your fortune. Give me a quarter. I love quarters.
So, nobody really knows who the bad guys are. All you can truly know is if you yourself are acting, choosing action from a place of integrity and authenticity, right? In the long run, am I saying you can't know the difference between right and wrong? Yes, but even those things are dependent upon context, you know? What's right and wrong in a civilized society where poverty is at a minimum and rule is democratic and non-tyrannical is different than what is right and wrong in a lawless society or a tyrannical society, or, you know, or in the theater of war, right? You can say, "Oh, there's always the absolute, you know, the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill." People kill all the time. And so many of the things that we do contribute to death, right? Death's an inevitability. Everybody's going to die, right? Eventually. Anyway, journalism. You know, I learned when I was in school, when I was in elementary school, when I talk about the school, I'm talking about grade school, that what journalism was reporting on the facts. Was about presenting facts about a person, place, or thing. And that's reporting. That's journalism. That anything beyond that moves into the realm of editorial, which is not journalism. Editorial may include facts, but it is specifically an opinion, and as such moves into the realm of creative writing. And journalism is not creative writing. So I think the closest thing we have to journalism out there right now are DIY videos on YouTube. Reporting on the facts. Look at me, I'm making this thing and this is how I'm doing it. Doesn't get much more journalistic than that, right? I suppose I've done some journalism on my past blogs and things when I've gone to events and I've written about them. You know, when I have reported on those things, I have tried to remove my personal opinion from things and report on just what actually happened. And when I do talk about my opinion in them, I'm very clear that it's my opinion. That it's, you know, I saw this, and this is what I think, right? But I've never attempted to be a journalist, so to speak. You know, I've never thought of myself that way. But I don't think there's really anybody out there doing much of journalism anymore. It's about ratings, it's about jokes, it's about money, it's about fame, it's about everything except information. I don't know. Information. Watched this video this morning. It was a woman's video blog, her vlog, and she was talking about being the victim of a home invasion somewhere in Canada, and that, you know, that she is temporarily staying with somebody, that she's moved from someplace and getting on her feet, so to speak, you know, wherever this is in Canada. She said it's a real safe place, and that a couple guys forced their way into the house and that were demanding, you know, guns and money and whatever, and she said she didn't know there were guns and money in the house and that there weren't, and they beat her, you know, almost killed her, threatened to kill her. I've been victim of home invasion. I've been home during a home invasion. It's not a nice thing. I was lucky in that no one who broke into the house or houses, the times when I was home when it happened, physically assaulted me, but it's still a violation, and you live with that. I mean, when you come into somebody's space like that you steal from them their sense of security and safety, and you know, that's terrible. And then when it happens repeatedly, you know, there's no place that we're safe. If somebody wanted to get in my house right now, who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them? And even if you say, oh, listen, you get a gun. Statistics show that when guns are present in home invasion, that the victim or the person whose home is being broken into usually has their weapon used against them. You know what I mean? When somebody's breaking into your house, they kind of have the upper hand in that the element of surprise, and they're already willing to do things that are dubious morally and ethically, right? So, you know, I don't know. I've got some knives. You know, a guy tried to get in the house here shortly after we moved in. I went outside and confronted him, and they came back and they stole shit out of my yard. I'm used to it. Is it right? No. But let me tell you, I'm used to it. I just feel totally nonplussed by all of the talk of inauguration protests, because, like, where the hell you been? Where the hell were you guys when and when I say you guys, I mean there's people who were so apathetic and made fun of me when I was up in arms and signing petitions and bringing around petitions over things like all the shit that went down after the Patriot Act was passed. I mean, that was just a disgrace. I mean, that was the undoing of so many rights for the individual here in the United States. In particular, the thing that was upsetting about the Patriot Act was how it gutted HIPAA, which are your medical privacy rights, right? So up until that point, the government would have to subpoena any medical records for anybody from a U.S. doctor. There used to be a doctor-patient privilege, like there's a lawyer-client privilege, or there is a pastor, and like for priests, there's an exemptness if somebody in confession. So there's privacy, but the Patriot Act gutted HIPAA, so the government no longer needs a subpoena to request your medical records. Think about that. Before, they would have to build a case and bring it before a judge and have the judge issue a subpoena for your private medical records to be relinquished to government officials. And that's gone. That means that the government at any time can go to any doctor and demand anybody's health information. Where were you? Where were you, ladies? Where were you? All you women, I'm going to go out and march and protest. Oh my goodness, my reproductive rights, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not a feminist. Where the hell you been? Where were you? Where were you when they passed the Patriot Act? Where were you when they gutted HIPAA? You sign something. Every time you go into a doctor's office, you sign your HIPAA release. Read that. It says that the doctor's office will not openly share your information, but that there's no privacy, that if the government says they want it, they have to give it to them. That's what that is that you sign. And the doctor won't see you unless you sign it, because it is a release of liability of the doctor for sharing what's supposed to be, or what historically has been privileged information. You wonder why there's all these superbugs and things. I mean, they're gonna say you're just crazy conspiracy theorist. No. And everybody's seeing it now. And now you think you're gonna go out and march to protest the inauguration of Donald Trump, and it's gonna do something. Too little, too late, ladies. Too little, too late. We gotta focus on actual action. What do I mean? I mean growing our kitchen gardens so that there's food to put on our tables and help with and to trade with our neighbors. I'm talking about registering women to vote, specifically registering women to vote, encouraging everybody you know to register to vote, to be ready, assuming that we get the chance to do it again. Texas is, I just saw this story this morning. Texas is passing some legislation that will make it possible for the state to take away a woman's right to vote if she has an abortion. Anyway, I'm gonna do a little bit of baking today and got some laundry stuff, and I gotta make me a new pair of pants. Got me some denim yesterday. I'm gonna make me a pair of jeans. Gonna make me a pair of stovepipe jeans. I don't care what anybody says about them. I know they're gonna be cute, and I don't care if they're not in style. You know what I noticed? I went into Target the other day. We got some towels. We needed some towels and what the hell else? I got some sheets. Got a set of sheets for the bed, right? We went into Target to get them. Whatever. Walking past the Target clothes,
all these women's clothes. I'm looking at stuff and I'm just like, this looks like the stuff that I made a couple years back. Big poof, you know, big floofy A-line skirt, poofy ones with a little t-shirt top underneath. Holy mackerel, I've only been wearing that for the past 5 years, 6 years. And there's this denim shirt dress. I'm like, oh my gosh. So a couple years ago, you know, I found this vintage denim shirt dress and performed it and went, let's see, Target. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just ahead of my time. Everybody always makes fun of me and what I'm wearing. Sometimes I'll do wear some crazy stuff just to see. It's like, okay, everybody wants to copy. Will you copy this? Will you copy this? For crying out loud, people. Crying out loud. Anyway. Oh. You know what else I'm going to get for my birthday? Kitty Pants' ashes. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to myself. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Can't remember the last time I had a good birthday. Here we are in the dining room. And you see I'm laying out my stovepipe jeans. I'll probably get them cut out, and I might get the top stitching, the fancy stitching I want to do on the pockets done, maybe, before I head on out for stuff to do this afternoon. Anyway, it's going to be my new jeans. Here we are, folks. New pair of jeans I made for myself yesterday. My retro pattern from Decades of Style. These are 1940s pant, stovepipe pant. Called that because the leg is shaped like stovepipe. Gives you a nice long column. So fabric materials, fabric, zipper, and thread. How much did it cost me to make these pants? Because I've had the pattern now for a couple of years, and so I've reused the pattern a number of times, and I think the pattern is like 12 something, maybe 15 bucks for the pattern. And I've made like a dozen pair of pants or shorts. I've made shorts with this pattern as well. But the fabric was almost $17. It was like $16 and 60 odd cents. The thread is, you know, a couple bucks for a spool of thread. There's about a spool of thread here when you take into account all of the top stitching and embroidery stitching that I had to do, the customized pockets and things. And then there's a zipper, a 9-inch zipper in the back here. And that's, you know, $7, so 7 plus 3 is 10, plus let's say 17, so $27 in materials, and probably about 3 hours total labor. And so if I were going to pay myself a working wage, let's say even minimum wage, let's say $16 an hour, so 16 times 3 is $48, so 27 plus 48, we're looking at like $72. So $72 to make these pants, made in the USA, baby. Made in the USA, right in my dining room. Totally simple pattern. This pattern is a total of 7 pieces, and 3 of those pieces are the internal waistband. So the pants themselves are just 4 pieces. You could, instead of, if you use using a stiff fabric like denim, you could just put a rolled waistband on the top to finish it, because the waistband is only to finish the top. So there you go. Made my own jeans. My Citizens of Humanity jeans cost me almost $200. Now you know why. Now you know why.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread glare, the bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave. I love my country, and I did not lip sing.